This will be the only meeting in December, so get your looks in while you can. Roll call, Councilor White. Here. Councilor Cunningham. Here. Councilor Hobson. And Councilor Anderson. Here. And I'm here as well. Thank you. Adjustments to the agenda, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the audience. So the proceeds that we're gaining from the Oktoberfest event, the checks are to be distributed to the three nonprofit organizations: Selected Source, One Serenity, Ride for 22, and Association of Vietnam Veterans of America. One couldn't be here tonight, the latter.
So we're gonna split the check amongst ourselves?
They still do get their proceeds.
Oh, okay, good.
Be a
I think
nonprofit.
there's on Thursday.
On Thursday, yes, they will drop in person. But the first two, Source One Serenity, Ride for 22, they're both present.
Cool. And those checks were for $4,411.73 times 3. And Katie, I appreciate your efforts in that regard for getting that Wander Winston event going. Thank you very much. Okay, before we start the public hearing, we had a Christmas tree lighting on Saturday. If anybody happened to be driving by the park or through downtown Winston, they would have noticed that it was a bit soggy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was gonna clear up, but it almost got to my ankles, clear up there, my ankles. And I failed to, when I was lighting the tree, I failed to thank Roseburg Forest Products for the donation of the tree. I failed to thank PP&L for the use of the boom truck for getting the lights up there. And then I also failed to thank the Melon Festival. And so I got all in right now, just to make things right. Public hearing.
Still appreciate it.
How about a thank you note?
We can do that too. You gonna write that?
Actually, it's the mayor's job.
Okay. I'll get a guy on it. So we're gonna have a public hearing. It's consent to annex planning file number 23-W005. And we're gonna start the public hearing process now. This hearing is now open for the planning department, file number 23-W005, a request for annexation inside the city limit of Winston. We identify the party status. Be it noted that for the record, the applicant and the city each have party status. Is there anyone present who is an affected agency who owns property with 150 feet of the subject property who wants party status? Seeing no one. Is there anyone who may be especially, personally, adversely, or substantially affected by the outcome of these proceedings who believes they are entitled to party status? Has staff received any written request for party status?
We have not.
Do any members of the council have a financial interest in the property which is the subject of this hearing?
No.
No.
Do any members stand to gain or lose any financial benefit as a result of the outcome of this hearing?
No.
Have any members discussed this matter with the appellant or the interested party prior to the start of this hearing?
No.
Have any council members met as a group to discuss this matter prior to the start of this hearing?
No.
Do any members wish to disclose any facts which might create the appearance that that may have a conflict of interest or are otherwise unable to participate in this hearing in a fair and objective manner?
No.
Does any party have an objection to any of the council members participating in this hearing? Council qualification is complete. We will proceed with the hearing. Have the staff report, please, Mr. McIntosh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the audience. The property owners located at 151 Winston Section Road have a sanitary sewer septic system that is in failing nature. So they requested from the city to connect into the sanitary sewer main line, which is located in Winston Section Road. The petition was put in June of this year. It was processed through the Winston Planning Commission, and they held a public hearing on it and offered a recommendation of approval. The city of Winston has an ordinance in place that requires any request to connect to sanitary sewer main lines. It requires a full annexation. The property owners have thus done so by consent. There's a map indicating where it's located. If you can recall, last year we did the same process on the neighboring property, 161. There's Ronald and Sheila Bly. A lot of these houses in this area are kind of the same age, and therefore they have the same septic systems that were installed around the same age. As a matter of fact, most of the houses along that area of Winston section were built in either the late 1940s or early 1950s. And so therefore have old antiquated sanitary sewer systems. Staff is recommending approval of the consent to annex into the city limits. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Does the applicant wish to present testimony? Are there any parties who wish to speak in favor of the application? Any parties wishing to speak in opposition to the application? We're going to close this hearing now. Thank you. The council can deliberate on the decision. We'll be reaching later in the meeting with the resolution for that. Anyone wishing to discuss items not covered on this agenda are welcome to address the city council as a whole. Please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes. Speakers may not defame, intimidate, or use profanity or personal affronts. The council reserves the right to delay action until they have full information on the issue. Anyone would like to speak to council? Okay. Check. So, would representatives from Source for Serenity please come forward? Here's your check.
Yes, thank you so much. May I also say a couple of words? Or is it
Okay,
okay?
just this once. Please.
So first of all, so thank you so much for all your hard work, Katie's hard work to implement this event, this fundraising event, so to benefit veterans. And I actually just wanted to read shortly just a testimonial from one veteran. And it's on behalf of our local veterans. This testimonial is from a post 9/11 combat veteran who participated in our trail work at the Boulder Creek Wilderness at the Umpqua National Forest. This is what he said. Although many veterans will never again experience meaning in their lives like that felt in the service, there are ways that we can experience a small measure of purpose and accomplishment in community service. For me, contributing to trail work allows veterans and other members of our society to get out and experience the healing power of nature in ways that might not be possible if these trails did not exist. I find meaning in sweating and straining in manual labor across from other veterans who find purpose in hard work that ultimately benefits the greater good of our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
thank
Thank
you.
you. And now, right for 22. Who drew the short straw there? Congratulations.
Thank you. I want to take this time to, of course, thank Katie for all her hard work raised in the funds. And just to let you know that all the funds that we raise, we also give to another nonprofit so they can keep their nonprofit running. We also give money for the families that are left behind that are struggling after their loved ones taken their lives. Ride for 22, his mission is very short. First thing is we educate the public about suicide. To let everybody know, 22+1 active member takes their life every day in the United States. So we have 2 big events. We have a kickoff party and then we have a 5K and a motorcycle ride. And that's where our riders and our runners pick a picture of a vet they're honoring that day. So these families know that their loved ones are never going to be forgotten. And as long as we keep doing our nonprofit, they will never be forgotten. So thank you very much for this check. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, reports, boards, commissions, and schools. Park Board, Alicia.
Not much to update, other than we are moving to quarterly meetings, so next week will be March 12th. There is also some movement on the memorial for Nikki McBride. They are looking into the plaque at Civic Wayside Park, but we're waiting on an official worksheet for that before we bring it forward to council.
Thank you. Anything else? Any questions for Alicia? Thank you. Economic Development, Mr. McIntosh, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the audience. So real quickly, the Economic Development Committee met, and there were a couple of things to highlight on the agenda. Brian Prowitz attended the meeting, who is the Umpqua Economic Development Partnership Director, and he contributed, introduced himself, offered assistance to the city. When we held a meeting some time back, the resounding sense in terms of the partnership, in terms of assisting cities, was just finding ways to push forward new commercial or industrial development to contribute to the city. New opportunities in that regard, how the city can partner with those types of operations that have the inclination of coming in. And I think Brian is going to be a real, a huge help in that regard. Seems to be taken to the position with a lot of fire, and he plans on attending our committee meetings in the future, all of our meetings. So he attended, offered support. The committee also entertained a vote for the installation of 2 new signs. This will come before the URA body shortly. We just got new quotes. So the City Hall sign here needs to be replaced. There's also a new Wander Winston, which runs in concert with some of the events. The Oktoberfest and the Wine Walk fall under that umbrella. The new Wander Winston sign will go over by the Visitor Center sign. Both of those would fall probably more appropriately under the URA facade side, because it's enhancing facade here. So the most recent quote we got, it depends on the schematic that we come up with, but it would be between the $300 and $400 range for both of those, not including installation. So the Economic Development Committee voted to recommend approval of both of those to the URA.
So that goes to the URA, correct?
It does.
Thank you.
Yep, that concludes my report.
Anything else for Thomas?
I just had one question, and I don't know if I should bring it up now, but I was just wondering, sometimes our meetings that we have should be posted out on a reader board, would be a real good idea. Like if there's, like this time URA was canceled and then set another time, if they could put it up there so everyone would know. And I don't know who does that, whether it was Katie or we hire someone else, but I thought that would be a good idea also a day before the meeting here to flash it up there so people that are coming home could see it and say, oh, don't forget the meeting.
Yeah, that's something we can definitely look into. I know it takes a little tweaking to use that. We've got to set and program that in. We could do some checking on who operates that. Our quote that we had before was only good for 15 days. These operations, they want new quotes all the time, so it had just gone. So we couldn't present that before you without a value.
How long is this one for?
This one was just acquired, as far as I know today.
15 days.
So it's good for a couple of weeks.
Well, we're not gonna have a URA meeting, are we?
That's something that we were gonna entertain tonight for the council. If, in a week's time on a Thursday, we can get that date for you. That'll be later in the meeting, a recommendation from staff.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Anything else for Thomas? Department reports. Chief Sardi, please.
Good evening, councilors, mayor, community members. I just have a couple things to report on. I'm going to give you guys some updates on what's going on with the police department. So currently we're working on a CAD upgrade, which is our computer data terminal system in the cars. And so Douglas County, we had a program called EIS that integrated with our report writing system, also integrated with our evidence with bar tagging. Well, the system, they quit updating it, so we have some issues there. And it's big money. So the commissioners got together and they decided to go with this program called Pilot System. And what's interesting about that is about 13 or 14 years ago, I was in the meeting with the other chiefs, and we wanted to go with the Tyler system. And the commissioners at that time took low bid, and we went with the EIS. Now that we're on the Tyler system for our CAD, it doesn't integrate and work with our report writing system. It works with dispatch, it doesn't connect with our jail system, it doesn't connect with our evidence. So now we're doing a little bit more work, which it's not impossible, but we can get it done. We're gonna start transitioning probably our report writing system when everyone else decides to do that in the next 2 or 3 years. And that's gonna be a big process. In the meantime, during this, as you folks have found that I'm not giving you guys a weekly report because I don't have the data to collect. I talked to Brad Odell, who's in charge at the sheriff's office for the system upgrade, and he basically told me that all the chiefs have called him and they want to know if we're gonna ever get data or a collection of, to find out what we're doing. And he said that they're working out all the kinks. This system has been a disaster, okay? And I just talked to the chiefs in Sutherland and Myrtle Creek, and they're not happy either, but we don't have any money to fix the problem. We're just gonna live with what we got. But that being said, Brad told me that probably around February or March, they're gonna start working on trying to create basically a data collection system within the program to collect the data that we want. So I have a chiefs meeting next week. We're gonna kind of discuss that a little bit, try to figure out what data we all wanna collect, because all of us want different stuff, right? So we're gonna kind of come to a consensus on that and get that organized. So just be patient. If you guys have questions or concerns, I by all means can do some research, but it's gonna be a lot of work to do that research that you need, that I typically get populated right away. So you'll still get information on code enforcement, so I'll still be sending that to Thomas, so you guys get that information, and any other pertinent information I put in my other little section of the report, you'll have that. So you just won't have the data, which kind of, it's not the greatest thing, because every year, end of the year, I review the data to see where we're at, see what we've done, if we're staying consistent, and now it's gonna be messed up.
It's what they do.
Okay.
The commissioners change the
We
software.
received about 50K back for the car that started on fire and burned up in the mountains. So, which is a good thing. I haven't dedicated those funds for anything, I'm just gonna leave them alone for right now. A new K9 car is close to 80 grand, so we're not there. So my recommendation at this point is to leave it alone, we won't mess with it right now. I do need to do some upgrades on some vehicles, but we can wait until next budget year for that. So that's the plan there. So I got some exciting news and it's kind of cool, I'm excited about it. So Winston PD's been literally the only agency, I'll say the only agency, there's been a couple others, but for the most part, to get lateral officers to apply for us. Our one officer that was out on medical all year, he finally is now gone. I was Elk County when this happened, so I had the sergeant open it up. We got a lateral officer that put in for it. The staff really likes him, so I'm looking at maybe picking him up, and I should know something next week or two. Probably. The exciting part is that if I get him picked up, what the public doesn't realize is that to train a police officer from brand new, the city of Roseburg's going through really rough right now. It takes literally about a year and a month before I take that officer and put him on the schedule to actually cover the shift. It's just all the training and all the extra CYA stuff they're having us do now. It's incredible and it's insane. I mean, if I started to work, I'll never pass. But that being said, it's pretty difficult now. And so that is if the candidate does everything right every single week through his training. And Roseburg City's like an 80% washout right now. So it happens, and it's not. I have my theories on why it's happening. I won't go political on everyone, but there's a reason why it's happening. So I'll leave it at that. The officer, if we hire this lateral, it'll be about 8 weeks from now. Depending on his training ability, I'm looking at 6 to 8 weeks with us for training before I put him on the schedule. So it's a huge difference. But he's gonna go into step 3K, so which is where he'd be. So there's a little bit more cost to it, but overall, at the end of the day, for the overtime, and saving my staff, they're getting burned out. So, and I got an officer getting ready to go on day duty for 12 weeks, so that's gonna hurt too. See here, something I didn't mention on the last one is the Tip Your Hero. I was really excited about it. So Tip Your Hero, I'm sure you folks have seen it, where we go to Carlos's and try to raise money for the sex trafficking. So I got our
You need
group
to
together.
phrase that a little bit differently. I just say it.
Human Sex Trafficking Task Force. right? Douglas County. Anyways, yeah, I get it. I'm Italian, I always said it. Anyway, we did the fundraiser and we beat everyone in the county.
did. You
So I was
did a
pretty excited about
great
that.
job.
And I actually told
Yeah.
the lady, I'm like, because they were kind of holding it down. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, whoa, time out.
Yeah.
Time out. Our community stepped forward and you're gonna get in the paper, and you're gonna get on Facebook, and they're like, I'm like, we got bragging rights,
Yes,
right? We
you
won.
did. Yeah.
So I really pushed that. And it was us and the fire department that did it. And, staff did a great, I mean, we made it perfect, and I'm not giving away my secrets, but I put the fire guys in the bar, right? No one wants to go drinking a coffee, so fire guys, right? So, fire guys went to the bar, I was like the Walmart greeter, and I was like, telling them everything. Because there's no way I could do tips, and I'd have a mess. So, I was in there and I'm just telling them and working them all up, we gotta beat them, and it worked out,
You
so
did
I was pretty
great,
excited about
yeah.
that. And we had a great group, we all volunteered our time, and it was awesome. We have a traffic safety meeting coming up on January 8th, Chair. So we're going through some of the stuff on the traffic safety that we discussed. Some things aren't working out like we would like to have, on some of the topics we discussed. I got some more things coming to play that we need to discuss on it. So January 8th is gonna be our traffic safety, will be the conference room. And then the last thing is, the mayor, you were,
Excuse me,
it's all right.
I thought I had shut it off,
It's okay.
obviously I didn't.
9 hours overtime for the parade.
Good for
Is
you.
what we paid, so it's like $704. So that's what we did for the Christmas parade. That's it, that's all I got.
Two things.
Yes, sir.
One thing, when you mentioned about the training of the officer,
Yes.
we also have to pay them, right?
Yeah, so actually I did a cost analysis with the manager wanted me to do a cost analysis with the difference between, hiring a new guy and going through the process. And we were into it's on my desk right now. It's like $74,000 or something of that nature, and then, doing because you gotta remember is that my officers have a contract, so they get a 5% increase in pay when they're doing field training. So I've always been under I always like to see a recruit wage that was less than 5% of their wage that would go to the officer. But we can't even find cops, so you don't wanna do that now.
So that's a big money saver for you.
Yeah, it will help us. I mean, the officer's still gonna get a 5% stipend for his field training, because he's gonna get a minimum of, I'm saying 8 weeks, but maybe if he does really well, it'll be around 6.
And the second thing is too, I wanna thank you, for helping the school district, with that, $400 and some odd thousand they got for traffic safety, because part of your grant ended up indirectly with the police department, is that not correct?
It did, I can't take credit for that. That was Kim, the.
Well, whoever.
Yeah, so
Make
the
sure
superintendent
they-
school district, we didn't, our part in this is not huge. A lot of people thought that, the repeater system that we were wanting is gonna be a part of that grant, it's not. No, so what they're doing is, and I haven't reached out to Kim since I've been back, and I'm gonna have a meeting with her. Basically, it's a system for their staff that's gonna have like a key card set up, kinda like fall and can't get up, push your button, right? And that type of deal, but it's gonna be for emergencies. So the staff will have these little collar things on there, and if they have an active shooter or something really bad, they can tap it and get engagement. As far as the repeater thing goes, me and Katie sat down and tried to do a grant through the forest products. Doesn't look like it went through, but basically I'm trying to find funding for, I would like to get 2 repeaters, and they have to go in the cars that have the Apex radios. So I have one car that has an Apex radio in it, and one car that doesn't for the school guys. And the car that doesn't have an Apex radio, I need $8,000 for the radio, to get an Apex radio in it, and then I need about $6,000 for the repeater. So if I
And
get
the license?
yeah, that will all be taken care of through, I can get that taken through our radio maintenance line. But as far as the repeater itself, I actually had Troy, the chief of Sutherland, come down. We used his car and went out to the high school, and because they had staff talking to the principal out there saying that the repeaters aren't gonna work. And I'm like, yeah, I know a little bit about radios, and they never work. And so we grabbed the chief's car, went down there, and we tried it out, and it worked perfectly.
Right on.
So,
Good.
yeah, so we need to go that direction. I don't think the $33 million upgrade for our police radio system
$33 million?
33
It's
million.
countywide.
Countywide, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and speaking of the radio system, I have said this in our chiefs and sheriffs meetings, the big executive meetings, that you can't expect the municipalities to just come up with millions of dollars.
Right.
And I asked them about 4 years ago, about 4 years ago, it would be nice to know if you're looking for funding, that we can create an account that we can start putting money away every year, so it doesn't hurt us so bad. And they haven't done it. But they don't even know what they've done studies, they've spent $100,000 in the last study. Our 911 system is failing throughout Douglas County, and it's failing bad. Our dispatch center, the girls there are a 10, the center itself is a 10, but the actual structures, all the towers around the county are failing. And so we're gonna have a big issue, and the county's gonna have a big issue. And so are we. So part of this DRMS radio system that I put together locally for us, it's gonna help us locally for our inter-departments, but it has nothing to do with 911, so that's it. And that's basically for disaster preparedness. That's it.
Thank you, Chief. Any more questions for the chief? Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Public Works, Mr.
Ready to
Howell.
sit down.
Hey, Mayor, Council, members of the audience, good evening. I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of our projects and kind of some timeframes, because I know that one of the things that we hear quite often is the length of processes that it takes to get projects completed from start to finish and things like that. So we'll kind of go back to Snow Pump Station. In 2015, we had the pre-design contract was awarded in 15, and we had the notice award in 2019. During that process, the original design of Snow, there was quite a few changes made to that one. I think this council, most of you recall these changes that came back. The original design was calling for leaving the 8-foot diameter wet well. The existing sump on that was about 1.5 feet deep, which didn't allow the actual proper operation of the pumps. It was utilizing the existing dry well, which was an old hydromatic, 28 feet deep dry well. So we made some changes and we came back to council and kind of worked through that. That was part of that process, and the notice award was in 19. And our east side project, pre-design was in 18, and the notice proceed was in 2021. Our west side project, we just finished up. The pre-design on that one was in 2021, and the notice proceed was in 2023. Community Park Pavilion, the design was in 2021. The notice proceed is in 2023, which we just started on that one. I don't know if anybody's got up there and looked at the pavilion, but we got some concrete up there, some footings, some conduit for the power. So that's moving along quite nicely. That'll be a really nice addition to the park. Looking forward to that one. Our siphon project, we had the pre-design October 4th of 21, and we're still waiting for the notice to proceed. That's